Hello. We're live. All countries abroad, the United States, maybe even Canada. All ships at sea. Welcome to the show. If you're watching this as a recording, please send me lottery numbers. Need a new pair of shoes. Anyway, we're going to get started tonight's show pretty quick. First of all, we're going to talk about, we got to get commercials out of the way. Show up the first picture, and we will talk about voices from beyond the New Orleans Paranormal Society. I will tell you what these people do not do. They do not take you beside a building and tell you it's haunted and walk on to the next building. They do not show you a tour of the front building of the house or look in a window or something and say this is haunted. They will take you to a building, sit you down, give you a piece of paranormal equipment, and say, this is the ghost that's primarily here. Have a conversation. And you'll be there for a while communicating with spirits. New Orleans is one of the most haunted cities in the United States, maybe the world. They've had a lot of deaths down there since the very early 1600s. And when they say they're leading a ghost tour, they're not saying that it's haunted. They'll prove it. So go ahead and throw the next one up. Here is their phone number, address. Contact them if you're going to be in New Orleans this spring or summer. Contact them, and they will take you on a real ghost hunt, or should I say, paranormal investigation. Not a tour. Be careful. You're dealing with New Orleans. Do not taunt the spirits on their tours, which also includes Andrew Jackson, by the way. Andrew Jackson Hotel, one of the most haunted hotels in New Orleans. But those spirits will strike out if you taunt them and say bad things. You'll find out the hard way what a ghost can do to you. But if you go down there and be nice to the ghost, you can have a nice conversation with a spirit. And we'll go ahead and throw out their video starting July 31st, August 1st and 2nd. Guess what they're doing? You want to come to New Orleans, have some fun? All right, that was a nice jazz number from White Bones. Kudos to them for that music. That is made from Canva, by the way, and that music is available on Canva. So quit hitting me up for copyright. Talk to Canva. They're the ones, they've got it posted on their site, approved for commercial use. And as far as personal little things I like to say, I don't delve in politics. But the current administration is making the same mistake the last administration did. The stock market is not the economy. The stock market can go sky high, and it is quite high. It goes down a little bit, then goes back up. That is the stock market. But the stock market is not the economy. The stock market is people who know, people are educated in the stock market, their best guess for what the economy is going to be in 6 months to 12 months. It's not the state of the economy now. The past two the current administration and the past one looked at the stock market and said, okay, everything's doing good. Our economy is chugging along. No, this is a guess. This is guesswork for what it's going to do in the future, not the way it is now. And is way bad indication of what the middle class is going through. So I just warn everybody, that's not the economy. But you need to look at the stock market, because guess where your Social Security money is invested? In the stock market. And you also got to watch out for something a little troubling. You, as an American taxpayer, now own about 12 businesses, including recent acquisition. Looks like we're going to take over Spirit Airlines. I will warn you, that is the road to socialism. Giving them a loan is one thing, making them pay it back, but buying their stock or giving them a loan and practically buying their airline, that is socialism. And socialism does not work. People have tried it, and you look it up in Google, they will tell you it doesn't work, even unless you're on an isolated island and don't do any outside trade. That's the only place it'll work. You might can have 500 people try to make it work. They might make it work a few months, then it's going to break down entirely. Socialism has always, every time a country tried it, led to a dictatorship. So I don't really like, now Obama did it, he rescued GM, but we, the taxpayers, bought a whole bunch of, I bought almost all of GM stock, but we put it back in the open market when they started making a profit and sold it at a profit. That was, that was always question, but it did save a lot of jobs. So you just got to be careful with that kind of thing. And by the way, anybody who's got retirement money and Social Security, if you ever worked, guess where Social Security money is? In the stock market, friends. To keep an eye on it. Let's do what we can to keep that up. But the middle class has had no recovery since COVID, really. So we need to work on that. Everybody. All right. Let's go ahead and open the door to this show. All right, everybody, sit down, be quiet. Let me touch real quick on a question that was asked. You said that Obama died. I was watching a little bit of news earlier tonight. There's no mention of Obama, period. So I would assume that is fake news or false information. So I think they would have said something about a former president passing away on the news tonight. And I've watched a little bit of news from 3 or 4 different sources, haven't seen anything like that. So I'm assuming that Obama is still alive. Thank you for the, I love this intro, Christy. Glad everybody likes it. And I'm also from the post before that, Christy, I'm glad I don't use Mellovision. Don't use that. All right, let's bring out the guest of the show. We're going to talk about cryptids tonight, I believe. He is the new Kentucky State Representative for the NADP North American Dogman Project, based near land between the Lakes, Kentucky and Tennessee areas. He's a former field investigator with Hopkins County Paranormal Society in Western Kentucky. He's had the privilege of being able to investigate some fairly famous locations, such as Waverly Hills Sanatorium, Octagon Hall, Bobby Mackey's. Yeah, if you live where he is, you better investigate Bobby Mackey's. The Music World. Terryville Battlefield. Yeah, you got to go there if you live in that area. And a few of the properties associated with the Bell Witch of Tennessee. He's also the former bassist for the rock band Sexstone and the metal band Sideshow Romance. Please welcome to the show, Trenton Battle.
Hello, sir. How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm here. I'm alive. That's a good thing.
That's a great thing. A lot of time to build.
I want you to start off. I read your bio.
Okay.
Now, let's talk about real quick where they can reach you. That was a long link that you sent me. What is that for specifically?
We've got several positions open in the North American Dogman Project right now, and we're actively looking for positions all over the United States, but especially in areas like Oklahoma, Georgia, South Carolina. There's a few states that we need some representation in. And the link I sent is a form to fill out to be a part of our team and join the hunt. See what kind of dogman activities you can get into in your state, in your area.
Gwen, could you please put up the picture I just sent you? There we are.
Yes, please. We're looking for field investigators, just plain old researchers, people that are just interested in the subject, would like to talk to witnesses, things like that. Anybody that wants to help out, we could definitely use some help right now.
All right, you got an email here and a .com. I can see it clearly on my screen. Can everybody see that? Could you see it pretty clearly, Trenton?
Yes.
Okay. That gives you anything else you want to say about this picture? That you're wanting people. You got positions. Where is this based out of?
Well, it's nationwide. Now, our founder is from more of the Michigan type area, but there's so many stories that come out across the nation. We're talking Michigan stories, a lot of Appalachian stories, whether it be a Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia. That area that's a big hot spot too. Ohio's got a lot of stories. Missouri, and the Ozarks, Arkansas. So Oklahoma, these stories are all coming out, and we need people in place to help us get to the bottom of this.
Okay. So you're looking for people to get into researching, maybe digging up some history, and talking to people who may have had a cryptid experience.
Exactly. We're looking for all aspects.
Okay. I have never experienced a cryptid. Not in real life. Of course, being in the woods, I've heard some things, but this area is starting to get too grown up. I used to have woods coming up to my practically my back door, but now I got a neighbor back here. I sold the property, and the property back behind him was sold, and now it's a cattle and horse ranch. So all the woods in this area are gone or further down where there's a lot of logging. So
right.
My chances for cryptids have really gone downhill here at the house.
Well, cryptids have been something that's been on my radar since I was a little bitty. I loved stories about the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, werewolves, UFOs and aliens, all kinds of things like that. And growing up, it just fascinated me. And I never really had a cryptid experience. Now I've been like you said earlier, I've been in the paranormal field for quite some time, but I had never had a cryptid experience. But I was camping out in land between the lakes at Twin Lakes Dispersed Campground back in the fall. This was about the last weekend of September, going into the first week of October. And I had been out there at that point, roughly 20 something days, I guess, at that point in time. And these 2 weeks, we started hearing this strange noise at night. And it sounded like an old, decrepit hound dog of some sort, trying to howl and bark all at the same time. But the thing that was weird about it was constant. So if you could hear it coming toward you, you would hear it all the way up to as close as it was going to get.
Whoops. Looks like we have a gremlin running loose. Let's see. What do we want to do here, Gwen? Lich, water serpent for the Thomas rate. That's the theory.
Let's give him a minute. Yeah, there he comes.
Throw the picture back up. Oh, is he coming back up?
Okay. There he is. There we go. We lost you for a second.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, continue, please.
Where was I at when I got cut off?
You said about some woods, and you were talking about you'd never had a cryptid experience or something there.
Okay. I had never had a cryptid experience, but back in the fall of 25, the last weekend of October going into, or the last weekend of September going into October, I had a few days where we encountered some just weird noises. And what one of the main ones sounded like was a old decrepit hound dog trying to like howl and bark all at the same time. But the weird thing was it never stopped barking and howling. It would come into earshot and go out of earshot, and it was just a constant the whole time. Now, in between every few minutes or so, you would hear this just unreal guttural growl come out of nowhere. And my dog, I have two dogs that were camping with me. I have a Great Pyrenees and a miniature Australian Shepherd. And they bark at everything. No matter how long it's there, it could be there all night long. They would bark at it until they couldn't see it anymore, or couldn't hear it anymore, or sense it, whatever it may be. But these dogs would bark at this thing. But that first time it growled, and every time after, once it would growl, they would just stop and look at me like, what the heck is that? What's going on?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You said that the breeds of your two dogs, that's a rather large dog and a kind of smaller dog, isn't it?
Yeah. Great Pyrenees. She weighs, I probably weigh 160 soaking wet, and I'm sure she weighs more than I do. And then I've got a miniature Australian Shepherd. Now she's probably about 20, 22 pounds tops.
So I was right.
Yeah,
Very, very big dog and a kind of smaller dog,
but very loyal all the same. So
if they were looking for you, they were looking for you to give them some instruction, like, or say, what the hell was that?
Yeah, what was that? I'm like, I don't even know. Now, the first few times we heard it, this was over, like I said, a 2-week period. We probably heard it 4 or 5 times. Not every single night. It was spread out. But the first few times we heard it, it was like off in the distance, like down toward where we were in the top part of the campground. This was more down toward the lake, like where the bathrooms would be. And not many people at that point in time were staying in that area. But the last day, and I tried to record this thing. Of course, all I had was my cell phone out there, and it never was close enough to get a good, solid recording of what it sounded like. But the last day, it was just right below us. And it was close enough you could hear it crunch the leaves and the sticks and on the forest floor, and then you could hear it splash through the real shallow parts of the lake where it came up to the beach there. And it was close.
Was it passing by you, or was it circling you, or where was it going?
It was probably a good 75 to 100 yards from us, down the hill through the trees. Couldn't see it. Close enough we could really hear it. And that night, I ain't gonna lie, it freaked us all out, and we just kind of sat there until it started fading away. And then we got a little braver and got some flashlights out and things like that. But yeah, it pretty unnerving. So I contacted the NADP and I gave my story. And I have hiked and kayaked this area for years. And my dad used to bring me up here when I was a kid. And we did lots of things throughout the trace, all the way from Kentucky to the Tennessee side, to where the Civil War forts are at. And I've heard the stories of Dogman through the years. Never really crossed my mind to look into things like that. I mean, other than just listen and be fascinated with the stories. But to have something like that happen to you in the woods and you really don't know what's going on, it made me want to maybe see what's going on. And lo and behold, Kentucky was kind of a bare state at the moment when I looked into it. And now I have, with my paranormal background and things like that, I've managed to become the Kentucky State Representative. And I'm wanting to put together my own team here locally and throughout the state. But I want to bring in different aspects of the paranormal world, whether it be UFO phenomena, hauntings, studies into telekinesis, biblical studies.
Can you tilt your camera up? We see your nose. There you go.
Native American studies, things like that. And we just want to, I want to make a team that can actually bounce ideas off of each other, because there's a whole lot. Like I said, I'm brand new with NADP, but I do have quite a few eyewitness testimonies coming in lately. And I can talk about them a little later on, but I can say we've had some anomalies like orbs and EVPs and things like that being caught at the same time we're having these Dogman encrypted encounters. So I want to bounce the overlapping paranormal phenomenon off some people from some different aspects of the fields, and just see what we can come up with. It's a crazy time to be alive. We witnessed some of this stuff with the Ohio Flat, where we had, what was it, 7, 8 Bigfoot sightings of some people that think they're fleeing the area. And then a few days later, we've got this meteor that explodes right over top of the same area where all these sightings occur.
And I don't believe in coincidences. I don't know about you.
I don't either. And there's definitely some coincidences we need to look at and get some fresh takes, some new minds on, and see what we can wash out in the end.
You just need some help.
I do. Absolutely. I've got a few people around me, a few good people, but I'm looking to build a serious little team here and really put some boots on the ground and see what we can come up with over the next couple years. So,
where are you? Are you close to the Tennessee-Kentucky border, or?
yes, I am. I'm located right around Eddyville, Kentucky, which is right outside of Land Between the Lakes on the northern entrance. And the entire trace is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 40 some odd miles long. So between going straight through the LBL, it's about a 60-mile drive for me one way. It's a short
All
day
right.
trip here and back. So
That looks like a very interesting area.
it is. It really is. And we're surrounded by the confluence of the Ohio and Missouri, the Ohio and Mississippi confluence.
Okay,
There's
Gwen, I just threw another picture up there. Can you throw it up while we're talking about this?
there's so many
There it is.
just crazy areas that have so much history.
There's a lot of water here.
There's a lot of war, and this, I mean, it goes back to the Native Americans and the mound builders, and it's got quite the history here.
Is this heavily forested in this area?
To a point, there's a lot of hunting land. There's quite a bit. Land Between the Lakes isn't anything to sneeze at. It's a pretty good size area between Tennessee and Kentucky. And I mean, we've got state parks on all sides of this. You got a national park right in the middle of state parks, all around the sides from the north to the south end, pretty much. Military battlefields, which are national or federal sites now, also. So it's a lot of private and government land. Wildlife area,
The
national.
mound builders, probably maybe the Mississippian culture. They were mound builders in that area.
Yes.
And then you had a Civil War battle here.
Oh yeah, plenty of them. We're surrounded by several battlefields. I mean, we've got Fort Donelson right at the very tip of the southern end of Land Between the Lakes. Fort Henry, Fort Donelson. There's several forts around the Nashville area. There's several forts going into Illinois. Columbus, Belmont. It's coming right out of Missouri and Illinois, right into Kentucky on the Ohio. It's we've got quite the history here,
and there's quite a few hot spots in this picture we've got up here. I'm just looking at it.
Oh yeah, there's you got everything from the Dogman Massacre to missing people like David Pilatus, missing 411 style stuff. We've got hauntings. There's more than one cryptid we've been getting talks about lately, and just a lot of interesting things going on in the area.
Yeah, and if it's fairly well forested with all that water in the area, a cryptid, if you're saying it's a hunting area, that means there's probably deer or something in season there. A cryptid would have a lot to eat.
Oh yeah, there's deer, there's turkey, there's tons of waterfowl at different times throughout the year that we have waterfowl come in from different places. So,
but one thing I see is Devil's Elbow. What is that?
it is a rock outcropping. I'm not exact. I honestly can't say that I know where the name originated from or anything like that. But I believe it is more or less kind of towards the center of the area.
Right.
And there's just been quite a bit of activity around the area. I know a lot of the activity happens more south on the southern end
Okay.
of the LBL, but
So you got a missing person further south.
yeah.
But to the north of Devil's Elbow, you have is that am I reading this correctly? Old cemeteries?
Oh, there's cemeteries strewn all throughout Land Between the Lakes. When they built the dams, it flooded the towns, and for a lot of the times, the old churches and cemeteries were the only things that were left standing.
And going up, you got something called Golden's Pond, and right beside it, you've got what, a dogman zone?
Everything below that is considered a hot zone for the dogman. Yes, you got a few places north of that spread out, but everything south is pretty much a pretty good hot zone in that area.
Pretty good sized area.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, you do need some help just covering that alone, just that one spot.
Like I said, it's about 40 miles from one end to the other, from where the dams start in Kentucky all the way into Tennessee.
Well, I just give you a personal opinion here. If anybody in the Kentucky-Tennessee area is into cryptids, this looks like a great place to team up with you and go investigating.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I've got a few interviews coming up with some eyewitnesses, and they're going to take me around to a few places. I'm going to meet a few new people, and we're going to get things started from there. So,
you need a couple of good people, maybe some friends, and next thing you know, you're the popular man on campus because all of a sudden you got a bunch of new friends.
Well, yeah, I already know there's a lot of people on campus down here, so I've got a lot of friends to make and meet myself. So.
Well, I wish you the best in this endeavor.
I appreciate it. I really do.
So, keep me informed. Let me know if you when you get 3 or 4 team members, you start looking at this area, because I find this fascinating. This land between the lakes.
Yes, it's there's so much history here, and I tell anybody just look into it. I mean, you're liable to find some of your own family history in there. So there's so many towns that were just washed away when all this took place.
Christy just said do an overnighter. Is there any place? You got campgrounds there, right?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of campgrounds from one end to the other. So there's a lot of groups that do overnighters, and that's one thing I've got planned coming up. So you'll be seeing some things coming from us.
All right, that would be cool to spend a night or two in a trailer or a Winnebago or whatever you got, and just investigate that place up and down.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Like I said, that is a big undertaking, and I wish you all the luck there is.
Thank you, sir. I do appreciate it, and I implore anybody to give us a reach out. You can reach out to me personally, nadp.kentucky@gmail.com, and we can get things started through there.
You got your Facebook page too, right?
Facebook, you can hit me up on Facebook at Battle Trenton. I'm under Trenton Battle at my name.
I'm sure somebody will be contacting you because that looks like a fun area to go to.
It is, and I got a few people that's expressed some interest, so we're starting to slowly get some people to trickle in. But like I said, we're especially looking for some people from like Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Georgia. We really have some spots we need to check out down there, and we really don't have anybody stationed there right at this point in time.
Well, there are parts here in Arkansas, but I have no experience in searching for cryptids. And with 2 fake knees, it's not like I can go running around the woods.
I hear you. My knees ain't fake, but they don't like running anymore either. So,
So either one of us on an investigation, we pass somebody, a miracle has just occurred.
that's exactly right.
And they might want to try running quicker.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because we have had a bear here in the town I live close to. 2 or 3 times we've had bears here.
I got you.
And of course, I got a gator right down the street.
That can come in handy sometimes. I can see that.
Yeah, makes it nice when you want to get rid of a body.
There you go. Ain't nothing wrong.
Now you've had some experience in ghost hunting before. You have quite a resume there.
Well, I've had the opportunity to do a few cool places. I got to admit, Waverly Hills was something else. We actually, I actually wasn't on an investigation during that. My guitar player from Sexstone just happened to secure a private investigation. They do several throughout the year. I think this one was in February of 2016, 15, 16. And basically we went to Waverly Hills with 13 people total. We got to go in about 8 o'clock in the evening, do a tour. We got to go investigate. Now, when they let us go, of course, on the tour, they take you to all the famous haunting places.
Of course.
So basically what we did was the two I was hanging out with, we were going to the places that weren't on the famous list. That way, we knew everybody in the group would just take off and try to get the hot stuff or whatnot. We're walking down through the halls, and I don't know how much you know about Waverly Hills, but on one side it's pretty much open air, like the old tuberculosis clinic.
Right.
And you've got the inner hall and then the closed off rooms on the very, very back side. But all of the stairwells are kind of centralized in 3 different spots along the way from one end to the other. And at one point we heard what sounded like 2 or 3 people running up the stairs. So we was like, well, we're going to go see what's going on. And we weren't but just a few feet from the stairwell. And we walked over, we shined the light down, we shined the light up. There's not a soul in sight. Not a single person was running up and down the stairs. Now, right around 10 or 11 o'clock at night, they order pizza for everybody. Bring everybody in, back into the gift shop. Serve you dinner, give you drinks, stuff like that. So we hurry up, finished our dinner, and decided we were going. Have you ever heard of the body chute? The old tunnel front that runs into the old train station where they would load the bodies onto the train, supposedly. Well, after dinner, we decided we was going to hit the body chute because we knew where everybody else was at that point. And it actually wasn't too far of a walk from where we were at in the gift shop starting out. But as we got to the chute, you start downhill, kind of going into the tunnel. And about halfway down, I mean, the further down you go, the more ominous feeling it gets. I mean, if you
were halfway, you were in no man's land.
We were halfway to the bottom.
Ooh.
And just all of a sudden, it sounds like a stampede of horses. just comes running over top of our heads. And all we could do is just look at each other like, what in the world? I mean, we know it's on top of us. You really don't need to run, but man.
Definitely made your skin crawl, I bet.
Oh, God. You got that fight or flight, and flight's the one thing you want to do. And you're like, wait a second. There's nothing around me. I just hear it. It's on top.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very strange feeling. But yeah, that was one of my all-time craziest moments in the paranormal field. We've gotten plenty of EVPs and things like that. Some pretty outlandish things from time to time. But the one thing that sticks with you most, I guess, is when it calls out your own name.
Oh, yes.
When they name you, it just puts a whole different perspective on things.
Having done this for about 25 years now, I've heard my name mentioned several times. It's still spine chilling.
Exactly. Every single time.
Now, what did you ever find anything at Bobby Mackey's? Because I've heard mixed things about that. Some people said they didn't find much. I've had people say they got nothing. I've heard people say that's the most haunted place they've ever been to. What was your experience?
I'll be honest. It was very cool to tour, to be able to be in the place and to see all the places that you see on TV, of course, from time to time. But as far as evidence goes, we really didn't catch a whole lot. I mean, we got a couple of minor EVPs that really didn't amount to a whole lot. But as far as like spectacular evidence, no, we really didn't get any of that from Bobby Mackey's. And we were there all night long for one solid night.
Well, if you got a whole lot of evidence every location you go to, I've said this to other people and say it all the time. If I got evidence every time I turned on a piece of equipment, or every time I went in a room with a meter, I would start to question my own techniques.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because you're going to have some null readings sometimes.
That's the goal, to debunk it. Let's prove it ain't there. That's the thing. If you can do that, so be it. But if you can't, then we need to have some conversations about that. So.
Yes, we can talk about that. Like show it to somebody. Okay, can you debunk this?
Exactly.
And you say, what, you put below a picture. What is this? And explain the situation. Or a video. I think people made up a hype Bobby's and ran with it. I don't know. I was never at Bobby Mackey's, but I've just heard conflicting stories back and forth.
You're right.
I'm not going to say it's not haunted. I'm not going to say it is. I've never been there, so I can't say either way.
It's I've had some outstanding discoveries in some pretty fancy places, and I've had some things that I cherish way more than what I've ever got there. Had some little simple private investigations. I mean, some things I can't explain. Little orbs and that appear out of nowhere and got their own light and take off and disappear. And there's just some things you can't explain.
Yeah, I've seen. I call them light anomalies when they're on video, where it looks like a white, usually white, tadpole swimming in the air.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And those I have never been able to explain. You can't say it's a light reflecting in the camera some way or another, because that wouldn't move. And exactly. I was with a young girl. She was using my camera because we were investigating a bar, and she wanted to shoot some video in the ladies' restaurant.
Okay.
And of course, I wasn't going to go in there.
Right.
So I gave her my camera, and she was shooting into the women's, with the door open to the stall. And from her right, a light anomaly kind of twisting in the way. It wasn't so white. It was kind of see-through, but you could see the outline and something in there. It came wiggling out of the wall, got the center of the door, and came right to her and was going right to the camera lens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then he got close to the camera, poof, gone.
Yeah, there's some things you just can't explain sometimes, and
yeah,
that's just the way it goes down.
That was a crazy place. Couple of times we investigated there several times, and you could sit there. It was a lot of workers in Chicago that would go to this bar, and they got their big paychecks. You go, even working man in Chicago makes a pretty good salary, especially for a public venue like these guys do. We're talking about $30 an hour. A lot of them on Friday night and Saturday night would go in there with some cocaine and shoot lines off the counter in the restrooms.
Gotcha.
I don't know what those people saw in those bathrooms. But my wife said she would not use the bathroom there because you could smell the cocaine on the counter.
Wow, that's a lot of cocaine.
That was Dust doesn't do that. No, Christy, you're right. Dust does not have a tail and doesn't swim through the air.
No, it does not.
And this was a video camera, not a still, so it's not some kind of, sometimes you get a flash with a still camera that'll create a whole bunch of orbs. Right. That's just moisture in the air or a bug or something. This got close enough to the camera, you could see there was no wings.
That's nuts. That's pretty nuts.
It's crazy. What is your favorite piece of equipment when you go on a paranormal investigation?
I really like the spirit box. I like the fact of using the white noise and just jamming through a bunch of channels and putting a few words together to make a sentence that comes from different places.
You ever heard your name through that?
I have several times.
That's creepy, isn't it?
Very, very creepy.
But even if you're scanning channels, what's the odds of a DJ or a commercial saying your name?
Yeah, that's
while you're listening.
Mine's not all that common anyway, so not at all.
No, very unusual name, but Trenton's a good, proud name.
Yeah, I ain't ashamed of it by any means, but no, to hear it on the radio or to hear it anywhere very, very often is unheard of.
Yes. And that's not a standard commercial.
No, not at all.
They're not like a used car lot to say, hey, we got plenty of Trenton automobiles right here. That doesn't happen. There's no such thing.
Maybe in New Jersey, it's about it. But
well, let's see. So, Crypt, have you ever had a UFO experience?
I have been fascinated with UFOs since I was a child. I have had a couple of instances where I have seen a green meteor streaking across the sky. Now, as far as an actual UFO, no, I have not. But the green meteors have stuck with me for years and years. I was probably 17, 18 years old the first time I saw it. So that would have been, Lord, about 1992, 3.
Yeah, that's something else. That's why I'm just a paranormal investigator, basically a ghost hunter, because I've never had a cryptid experience, Never had a UFO experience, but I love hearing people talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that I'm looking for right now, especially this area. I'm looking for a team, but I also want to hear people's stories. And I'm not, it don't have to be a dogman story or a cryptid story, Bigfoot, whatever. I want to hear your UFO stories, your hauntings, your strange history, missing persons, monster fish. If you got a weird story about the area, I want to hear it. And let's make a database of everything that's going on and has been going on through the years.
Yeah, my parents had a cabin on the Georgia Alabama border,
Mm-hmm.
and our cabin was on the Alabama side.
Okay.
And I was up there by myself, me, a dog, and a couple of guns. That sounds southern, doesn't it?
Nothing wrong with that.
Anyway, I was sleeping, and all of a sudden the dog jumped up, and the front was a porch, full width of the house porch.
Right.
The dog heard something, barked a little bit, and I asked him to be quiet. And it's something that I had the door to the porch locked. I had the screen door locked. It's just a latch. It was just a screen door. Simple. You can reach your hand through the screen on the latch if you want to. The latch is not going to keep anybody out who wants to get in. But they would have to tear through the screen. Anyway, I heard something grab the handle and shake it like they were trying to get in. Then I heard footsteps on the porch. The dog by this time was going nuts and started rattling the doorknob. There was the front door of the cabin from the porch.
Right.
And I just started at the top of my voice, said, "Look, there's a dog in here, and I have 2 loaded guns. You come through that door, you're going to get shot." And the rattle of the doorknob stopped. I heard a couple of footsteps, heard the screen door rattle, and of course I was up the rest of the night. But I wasn't going to go outside in the dark and confront something.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I waited until daylight, carried both guns with me, walked out on the porch. There was no marks. I looked at the screen door. It was still latched and no break-in evidence. So we got a couple of storage areas on the porch. I looked in them. There was no raccoon, no nothing.
Right.
Nothing on the porch had been disturbed. And the screen door was just like I left it.
That's nuts.
And that's a spine-tingling story.
Yeah, it is.
And with Christy Richa says, what is it with cabins in the paranormal? We're talking about a cabin on a backwater on a major lake just off the Chattahoochee River. Okay. So you've got the river energy. You've got a rather large lake that stores a lot of energy built in the woods. Now I could get in a boat and be at somebody else's cabin in a couple of minutes because you can see them. To drive to those cabins, to get to the closest one, would take about 10 minutes.
Right.
And to get to some right across from me, I would have to drive miles to get to a cabin that was just across the water from me. I could swim to in 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Plenty of woods, plenty of deer. There's plenty for cryptid to eat. There's plenty. People have been fishing there for years. That's why my father built the cabin there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got some history, and it had 2 springs with about a mile and a half long streams. Springs that had streams coming off of them, running into the lake.
Okay.
So there was running water. And so, there was Native Americans in that area.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes. Before the lake was there, the river was only about a mile and a half away. But in this area had two small streams that springs were feeding. So there's probably been habitation there for years and years.
Definitely.
And I never could figure out what was rattling that doorknob. Because it couldn't have been human, because they went through the screen door and latched it behind them. How'd that happen? The screen was not torn. There was no damage to the screen.
The area that I am from is called Dawson Springs, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually was famous back in the 1920s for its mineral springs.
Okay.
The Pittsburgh Pirates would come down and they'd hold their spring training league every year at the ballpark downtown, and they would bathe in the springs and drink the water. And there's a bunch of big hotels in the area, a big old tuberculosis hospital. It was several different buildings, but it was still a rival to what Waverly Hills is like today at that point in time. Now it's in the last since the 80s, they've torn a whole lot of it down. There's only a couple of the old buildings still left on the property. But all in all, it's also settled right on the banks of the Tradewater River, which is named after the early pioneers and Native Americans trading with each other in these locations.
Christy had a question. She said, the cabin has no ties to the spirit. Why be protective of the cabin? The spirit may not have been protective of the cabin. It may have wondered what the cabin was and who was there. They may have been attached to the land.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of going with the cabin because in my area, I was in my early 20s. I was just starting to play in some bands and things like that. Not too far out of high school, I was still playing some basketball here and there. But like I said, I've always had a fascination with the paranormal, whether, like I said, whether it be ancient civilizations or unsolved mysteries type things, cryptids, UFOs, you name it. But I have a very strange story, and the name of the road we were on is Log Cabin Road.
Okay, want to raise the camera back up again? Oh, there you go.
The name of the road we were on is Log Cabin Road. And
okay, makes sense.
The only historical thing on the whole road is there's an old log cabin. When I was younger, it was pretty much intact, but through the years it became pretty dilapidated and falling apart. It was in ruins pretty much by this time, which would have been late 90s, early 2000s, that era. But this was a Easter, about 3:00 in the morning on an Easter Sunday, going straight into Easter the next morning. We're on these back roads, just hanging out, listening to music. And we're going down this road, Log Cabin Road, and we're almost to the cabin where it sits right off the side of the road. And we see this person, or that's what we considered it to be, walking across the road, but it had like a weird limp to it. Like it wasn't right. It was hurting, almost hunched over, kind of. So I slowed down. I turned my brights on, and I could see this person was wearing a suit, like dressed up to go to Easter Sunday service. And the closer we get, I slow down. I'm thinking I'm going to stop and talk to this person, see if they need help and whatnot. Well, as we get right next to them, their skin is completely pale, almost grayish looking, and their eyes are solid white, no pupils,
Ooh.
just solid white. Their suit is tattered. You can tell now it's kind of torn around the collar. The tie's messed up. It's not tied correctly. And I ain't gonna lie. We looked again, confirmed there was no eyeballs, and we hit the gas and took off. Never looked back.
Did he react to you at all?
It stepped back as we were. I mean, this thing was within inches of my car. I had to actually pull over to get around it. I had to pull over kind of off the road a little bit to get around it. There's a couple of very old churches right down the road adjacent to where that road comes out onto the next main road. But 3 o'clock in the morning, it's a strange time for anybody to be walking around in a suit.
Oh, yeah.
Much less going to church at 3 o'clock.
Too bad you didn't go to one of the churches and investigate that. He may have walked up to the church and sat down in a pew and waiting for the Easter music to crank up.
But I'm not going to lie. I've been back 2 or 3 different Easters just to see if I could see it again. Hadn't been able to recreate that moment. But
wow.
Doesn't feel like a trying. So,
well, I hope everybody's enjoying these ghost stories we got going right now.
That's what I almost forgot about. I hadn't told that one in a long time.
I don't talk about my experiences as a cabin either, because I was maybe 18, 19.
Yeah.
Back in the probably the mid 70s.
I had my first encounter. I was probably 3 years old. Me and my parents we hadn't been in this house very long. We had a house where the ceiling fell in my sister's bedroom, and she had a canopy bed at the time that actually kept the ceiling from falling on top of her.
Oh, wow.
Thankfully. And we ended up moving. I wasn't too far from turning 4 at this point, but kind of just at the beginning of my memories, being able to remember things from growing up. But one thing that sticks with me, and always has, we had a 3-bedroom house. I shared the corner of my parents' bedroom. At that time, I had a little bitty bed right underneath the window. And at 3 years old, I was sleeping right in the corner by myself. And one night I woke up. It was probably around between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. And I look out the window and there's a white apparition, kind of abstract, but you can see like it's got like flowing clothes on, white, see-through almost. And this house, the window is probably almost 2 stories off the ground. So, and there's no deck or anything like that outside the window. So nobody's standing there. But at 3 years old, that stuck with me, and I'm pretty sure I slept in my parents' bed the next 2 or 3 weeks after that.
Did you tell them about this, or did they believe it?
I did. My mother had she's had a few experiences over the years, especially like having almost the sleep paralysis type events, and then it feels like somebody's sitting on her chest. Like she's got her eyes open and she can't move and she can't breathe, and somebody's sitting on her chest and won't let her up. So my parents believed me. My dad wasn't real thrilled about it, I don't think, but I did manage to sleep for almost 2 weeks, I think, in their bed. I got some comfort out of it. I wasn't sleeping by myself for a little bit. That's for damn sure. Not at 3.
I guess Christy's talking to you. Have you got blonde hair?
I do. I do. It was
Apparently
really blonde when I was little. Now it's kind of it's getting grayer as I get older. I ain't gonna lie there.
Hey, gray hair, it happens.
It happens. I ain't ashamed of it.
By the way, I will be 70 in July.
Yeah. I'm only about 20 years behind you, so
the gray will come out. You see, I'm the solid gray now.
It's already started. I embrace it. So nothing else I can really do about it.
Nope, there's nothing you can do about it. I could dye it, but what am I gonna do with all this?
Exactly.
Now the mustache too. That's too much trouble.
Yeah, it's pointless.
I'm married to a great woman. I don't have to worry about attracting others.
There you go. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
How long you been married? Are you married?
We are bound to get married very soon. We've been together since 2020. We met on Twitter. She's from Texas.
Okay.
And we ended up meeting in Arkansas and Oklahoma a couple of times, and then we decided to move in together for a while. And lo and behold, here we are. So,
where in Arkansas did y'all meet up at?
I was scoping out the Buffalo River for some kayaking. So it was just almost in the Missouri border, around like half an hour south of Branson.
Okay. You were not too far from the big battlefield up there, Pea Ridge.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And not too far from the Crescent Hotel. About an hour to your east.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're there. So you were there in kind of a hot spot paranormally.
I was. Now, like I said, I was scoping some kayaking and meeting the love of my life. So I was kind of preoccupied a little bit, I guess.
Well, that's a great story, though.
Yeah. You
always got a great story of how y'all met.
Mm-hmm.
Galen and I met on a British website. The person who ran it died a few years ago of cancer. But we started meeting, started talking, and we finally met up in Columbus, Ohio at the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic Bodybuilding Competition.
Awesome. I mean, you can't beat that.
No. So we decided to get married, and I left Georgia and moved to Chicago for 14 and a half years, and we wanted to have a retirement cabin in the woods. And so here we are living outside of a town with 2,200 people in it.
Awesome. We are in rural Western Kentucky, and we love the fact that we don't have a whole lot of neighbors. So now you got your Arnold Schwarzenegger story. I'm gonna have to tell you my Andre the Giant.
You tell me yours, I'll tell you mine.
All right. I was about to turn 5. It was 1979, New Year's Eve, going into 1980. My parents sold Amway. I'm not sure if you know what Amway is.
Yes, I do.
They had a lot of cleaning products.
Yeah.
They had clothing. They had all kinds of stuff. Just anything.
Amway's got about everything. At least they used to. I don't know about now. But they started out with soap and then just expanded into everything.
Soaps, shampoos, lotions, you name it. They had medicines. They had everything. But my parents got into selling Amway. and when I was a little kid. And we had an Amway convention in French Lick Springs, Indiana. Now, that's another big historical ghosty spot. Of course, I didn't know that at 4 years old, almost being 5. But I remember walking through the hall, and they've got the ice sculpture of 1980 sculpted out. Thought that was pretty cool. And then we get to the end of the hall where the elevator's at, and there's this humongous dude. Just humongous. And he looks down at me, and he picks me up and holds me in his arms. And it's Andre the Giant. He is selling Amway before he becomes a famous wrestler. He's still in the minor league wrestling circuit, I guess you could say, at that point in time. But he's selling Amway to make some extra money, and he picks this little kid up that just happened to be me.
He was a friendly guy, and he was great with kids.
Yeah, he was.
Jeff Taflin, Taflan. I'm not wearing my reading glasses. Has anyone heard of the Bel Air House in Ohio? I have not. Have you?
That seems like it rings a bell, but I am not real familiar with it. I'm not gonna lie.
I have never heard of it. If I had, I forgot about it because if I remembered, I would say, maybe somebody I knew somewhere along the line had been there and mentioned it to me. That's about all I can say. I don't remember. Now, I was at a local wrestling event in my hometown, Columbus, Georgia. And I was, they had different locker rooms, good guys, bad guys, split apart.
Oh, yeah.
And I had gotten tired of sitting and was walking around, and a match started. So I stopped and just got out of people's way and was watching the match. And I was right outside the good guys' locker room. And I was standing there, of course, completely absorbed with what was going on in the ring.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I felt a weight on my right shoulder. So I said, okay, somebody has got their hand on my shoulder. So I looked down like that at my shoulder, and here is this paw of a hand.
Yeah.
Fingers like this.
Exactly.
Your fingertips were almost down to the armpit at the front, and the palm was almost in the armpit down in the back. Great big, huge hand. So I turned around a little bit further and to see the person. They took their hand off, and I was looking straight to the belly. So I followed up, and there's Andre sitting there about to burst into laughter. He was smiling so big.
That's awesome.
And I actually got to speak to him a little bit.
Nice.
That's all I say. He was just a nice guy, and he saw me sitting in front of him, standing in front of him. Well, where he went, he opened the door, and there I was off to his left a little bit, and he just come up there and just put his hand on my shoulder, just in a friendly kind of manner.
That's awesome.
He was a pretty good guy. I also met somebody and used to be in your profession, Aerosmith.
Oh,
I don't remember much. I don't remember much about it for obvious reasons. I'm not going to say alcohol and drugs were involved, but they were. And we got backstage, and we probably burned through about at the time, late 70s, about $500 worth of hashish.
Wow.
That would be a couple $1,000 in today's money.
Oh yeah, easy.
And we got backstage with it, and just got blistered with Aerosmith.
That's awesome. Story, dude. That's a cool story. Lord knows I've hung out with a bunch of bands, so I've got some stories under my belt there.
Yeah. I was a DJ at a nightclub for several years. I worked with a band in the early 90s. You ever heard of Cowboys in Dothan, Alabama?
It sounds familiar. I ain't gonna lie. It does sound
One of the
familiar.
largest nightclubs in the country.
Yeah. Okay.
Huge place. I mean, it had 5 or 6 bars on a busy night.
Right.
And it had a big band stage. Had it fixed up right. You had the door that you need to run your equipment in and out of. They could back the truck right over that door, open the door, and you were looking at the stage. So you could wheel your equipment right out of the truck, and you were at the back of the stage, wheel up a few feet, and set your equipment up.
That's pretty handy. That don't ever happen.
They had this place set up right, and I was talking to somebody on the show a couple months ago, and they had actually been there because I didn't know it was still open or not. I heard a rumor they had shut down, and they said, "Yeah, Cowboys is still open, still just like it always has been." I said, "Okay."
I know
That was a popular place.
We played at a place in Nashville called the Mercy Lounge. We done a big Halloween event there one year, and loading in was a nightmare. You had to load in, go up the elevator, and then go through the dressing rooms and out through the crowd, and then get on the stage. And it was a mess. But loading out, they had that set up right. All we had to do was go out and take the emergency escape. That's how we loaded out. Right into the car, boom, he's out, he's done.
The only problem with Cowboys, it was an older building, and of course, he had pipes running around where they used to connect lights. Been operating for a couple of decades.
Right.
So they weren't used anymore because lights change in a decade or so.
Oh, yeah.
And different bands. But the issue was you always got the female groupies. They would go up there and jump up to these pipes that used to hold lights and swing on them.
Oh, Lord.
And of course, a lot of these women during the summer would have, the tube tops on.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what happens when the girl reaches up here like this? You know what happens to that tube top?
Oh,
it's only covering the navel. That's all it's covering. And they were swinging in front of the band. And here's this guy trying to sing, beat the drums, play the bass, and seeing a topless woman swinging back and forth in front of it.
Exactly. They wasn't doing that on purpose.
No. The nightclub life is insane. If anybody that has not worked in nightclubs, you missed it.
Oh yeah, it's a different world, that's for sure.
Totally. You got a world outside the door. You walk in that door, regardless of what door you walk out of, the band door or the front door, it changes immediately.
Yep.
What instrument did you play? You said we're in a band. What you play?
I was a bass player.
A bass player.
I was a bass player.
You got to learn how to play guitar first before you learn bass, right?
Absolutely. I was a rhythm guitar player for years before I was ever a bass player. So.
Oh, Christy said I was one of those women watching. I think this man sing.
What?
Christy, where did you see Trenton?
You wasn't watching me sing, 'cause I don't sing.
Well, you got a nice deep voice. You could probably sing bass.
Well, I could get away with it, but that's not something that's not my forte. So.
Oh, well, you got to learn how to play guitar before bass. That's what somebody told me years ago.
Oh, yeah. I learned to play guitar years before I learned to play bass. So I was probably going on 30 before I really picked a bass up to be serious about it. I mean, I picked them up and played with them through the years, but to get serious about it, I've been playing guitar since I was like 18, 19 years old, and bass came later on in life.
You know, of course, you know who the Beatles are.
Oh yeah.
You know Paul McCartney.
Oh yeah.
When they started coming up, a little story about them. You had 3 guitar players, and of course, the drummer Ringo.
Mm-hmm.
You need a bass player. So they had a big discussion about who would play bass, and Paul finally said, "I'll do it. Forget it. Just shut up. I'll do it." And of course, he had, being lefty, he had, turn it upside down.
Right.
And learn how to play a right-handed bass upside down with a left, as being a left-hander. But that's my Beatles story.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Now, I had a buddy that played a left-handed bass, and sometimes he'd let me play bass on a song or two during one of their sets, and I'd flip it upside down. Usually, it was something pretty simple, like some lit, some just something easy, 2 or 3 chords, some Ramones, something like that. You never know. I mean, just something that I didn't have to think about.
I Christy liked the Beach Boys. I also like the Beach Boys coming up.
Well, Beach Boys are great.
Oh yeah, fantastic
Absolutely.
group.
I'm a metalhead at heart, but man, I love all music. There's no doubt about that. So,
Oh, you've heard of Steppenwolf, hadn't you?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Back in 1991, I'll tell you the year, they were playing in Columbus, Georgia. I was working third shift. So I see this, it was time for the clubs to let out. So they had an old truck. Here comes this old truck. It says Steppenwolf. And I said, this can't be. This has got to be somebody who copyrighted the name, probably somebody that worked with the group and paid money so they could put Steppenwolf on the side of their truck. This is not the group. Turns out it was not the group. Of course, the original group had split off, but the lead singer still had the name, still had all the rights to the songs. He had hired some younger guys to play with him.
Oh heck, okay.
And they learned how the original guys did it, I guess, and they sounded like the original Steppenwolf. So I got to meet. I talked with them about 45 minutes.
Nice.
That was an experience talking to somebody that I listened to their music to in the late 60s.
Yeah.
And about 5 or 6 years after that, he completely retired.
Wow.
He was older than I am, so I hope he's still alive. God bless you.
Yeah.
Enjoying his retirement like I am.
I've met a lot of people I really looked up to through the years. A lot of them were turned out to be really great people. I've been disappointed a few times, I'm not going to lie. But for the most part, most everybody I got the opportunity to sit down with turned out to be really straight shooters, straight up people. So they didn't care to tell the stories. They didn't care to tell you all their horror stories through their old bands getting to where they were now. So
Jeff Talon said, a nice chatting with us. He said to look up Bel Air House LLC.
okay, I will look into that for sure.
You will see the goat or the paranormal goat. Good night. We had there's Goat Man. I don't know what he's exactly referring to there, or the paranormal goat. I always think of Goathead Productions or the Goat.
We do have the Pope Lick Monster in Kentucky. It's kind of a Goat Man type deal, so that's a possibility. Kentucky has some strange cryptids. I'll just put it that way. We've got plenty.
Well, you got a lot of empty land up there.
There is. There's a whole lot of empty land.
Yeah, because I've been through the state a couple of times. In fact, I was at a convention over the weekend in Louisville.
Nice.
Back in the 80s.
It's a lot more
across the state.
But not far from Louisville and Lexington, you got Red River Gorge, Daniel Boone's National Forest. And then that leads right in to the edge, the foothills of the Appalachians before you get into eastern Kentucky and the real hollers down in that area. So,
of course, I know what a holler is. I don't know about everybody else. But would you believe we were almost hitting 90 minutes?
All right. Well, that's awesome.
Can you tell everybody one more time where to reach you, your Facebook page, etc.?
You can reach me at Battle of Trenton on Facebook. You can search up Trenton Battle. I am on TikTok and Instagram as Between the Streams Paranormal. You can also send me an email directly at nadp.kentucky@gmail.com. And we can get you started if you're looking to give us a few stories, or if you want to even pursue maybe joining the hunt for the dog man with us. You are more than welcome to apply for that. Just shoot me an email and let's get started.
All right. Let me see if this works. Okay, that is one hell of a link, but there it is. The bottom one, not that one, Gwen. The bottom one's got a little bit more to it. There you go. That is a long link, but that's your application to what you're wanting to do, isn't it?
Yes, that's the form to fill out for recruitment into the North American Dogman Project.
All right, and go ahead, Gwen. Put the giant werewolf back up. Join the hunt. Here's two of your emails. That's still a good email for you.
Now that's for I'm pretty sure that's our main director.
Okay.
And then we've got a Jen Jacob. She is the one responsible for this poster. The other one will go straight to her. So you can, I believe she is the Indiana state representative also. So.
Okay. So y'all are looking for new people all over.
Yeah, we're looking for people everywhere.
All right. So you need to contact the main people there, or contact you if you're in if anybody's in Kentucky wanting to join up with you and have a good time.
Exactly. Come on board.
Because if you're not having a good time on any kind of investigation, you're doing it wrong.
You are doing it wrong. I ain't gonna lie, and I ain't gonna lie. It always ain't a good time either. But sometimes you just do it wrong. But
well, I have been on investigations where you're cold and miserable.
Yeah, it happens. I ain't gonna lie, it happens. I've had my questionable nights. I ain't gonna lie. I wouldn't trade them for the world, though.
Yeah, I got an attachment in an old speakeasy in Chicago.
That's no fun either. Taking an attachment with you.
No, it's not. That was in my early days of the paranormal. All right. Well, if you got anything else you want to tell the world, well, we go ahead and jump out of here.
Just give us a shout if you're interested. If you've got some stories, we want to hear them. It doesn't matter what state you're in. You can send a email to any of those email addresses, and nothing else will point you in the right direction. But get a hold of us. Look for some more news coming out. I've got some eyewitness testimony I'm about to check out this weekend, and won't be long. I'll have some more things I can talk about.
All right. It sounds like your group needs to, on nationwide, get your own podcast.
We're working on that as well.
Just a suggestion, because there's no better way to recruit than having a podcast that's on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever else.
Indeed. I mean,
okay, for the state of Florida, we need 5 people to get together and form a team to go on some hunts. Send us an email. We'll give you the information. There's no better way to do it than a podcast.
Exactly.
Because you can get on there on YouTube and Facebook. A business can't buy that kind of advertising.
No, it cannot.
Instead of a 15-second ad on YouTube, you've got an hour and a half long show where you can talk about stuff.
Exactly.
And using something like StreamYard, you can have up to 10 people. Hell, you have your meetings on here.
Yep.
So it's an amazing platform.
It is. It really is.
All right. We can go ahead and take a photo down. And Trenton, it's been a pleasure.
Len, thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed it. And
keep me informed.
I sure will. We'll we got a lot of new things coming up. I'll be in touch. So
all right. You've met Gwen tonight. She's the producer. So
absolutely.
if you want to come on, we have over 20 shows. If you wanted to appear on another one and discuss stuff,
okay,
maybe have a little bit different following than I do, Gwen be the person to talk to. She'll set you up with somebody, and we'll put you again just on the All Access Network TV network, just not me.
There you go. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. If you want to, Gwen and I usually hang around for about 5 or 10 minutes after the show and chat. If you want to join in, just stay in the room and we'll do our ending and we can chat a little bit off air.
Okay, sounds good.
If you don't want to, that's fine.
All right.
But just don't hit the red button at the bottom where you leave the room. Just hang around and we'll pop back up. We can talk about anything we want, off air.
All right, sounds good, brother.
Hey, Gwen. Knock, knock. Whoops. Wave, hi. There you are.
Ian, you ready for your exit thing?
I did post it, didn't I?
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, the purple. Good night, everybody.